Starbucks is doubling down on hospitality and what it's calling Green Apron Service. It's the opportunity for baristas to warmly engage with customers, and it'll be backed up by technology enhancements to ensure that cafes are properly staffed. For the company, it's an opportunity to stand out in an increasingly competitive environment for the consumer. I sat down with the company's new Chief Operating Officer, Mike Grams, here in Seattle to hear more. So Starbucks is rolling out a new Green Apron strategy. You're leaning even more into hospitality. Tell us what the strategy is.
The strategy is to reconnect our partners with our customers. The simplest version, I would say, it's training people on the fundamentals of great Starbucks service, the service that we've all known for many, many, many years, but reconnecting back to it. It's an investment in expanding rosters, really trying to put partners in a position so that as a customer, when you visit the store, you see the rhythm behind the bar, specifically driving deployment at peak, really trying to make sure that we're in a great position to do that. It comes with technology, which is meant to smooth out the digital ordering, the three channels altogether. If you take the drive-through cafe and the digital business, it's really meant to smooth all that, take the thinking out of the process, put partners in a position where they can craft and connect, which is really what they want from us along the way.
How did you diagnose the problem in stores and settle on this as the solution?
There were two big drivers. Talking with customers about the demand, the growth in digital business, which is made in some places, it's very chaotic at the end of the counter. The other big listening element was just talking to partners. And what we heard was, hey, we're rushed. We can't stay in position. We can't meet the demand. And therefore, we can't connect with customers. So you marry those two together. You take some of those ideas, the fundamental elements, and then just really create clean, easy standards that are meant to clarify for everyone across the country, and so that we show up with customers in a predictable, repeatable way that I think all of us, as we remember Starbucks to be, is that brand, that hospitality and connection was at the center of everything we did.
Part of the Back to Starbucks plan under Brian Niccol is to get you that customized drink in 4 minutes or less from the cafe. Will this make that happen? Will it speed things up?
Well, there are elements right now we're already well under that. Our drive-through times are south of 3:30, 3:20, I think, last quarter, which is terrific. Our digital business, which is now 31% of our overall business, which is healthy and strong, is the real area that we're going after there. And then the cafe business, as we reopen our third place to America, 80% in our test results, we did 1,500 stores across the country with Green Apron Service. We saw a trans lift at morning peak, we saw a sales lift at morning peak, and an overall comp that was higher than the rest of the system. And if you peel that back, what really drove that is 80% of cafe orders now being delivered under 4 minutes. And ideally in the digital world, we just want it to be on time with whatever comes across in the mobile app is what the customer gets, and we want to be consistent with it.
And someone who's hearing this, Starbucks leaning more into these warm interactions with baristas, leaning into hospitality, they may say, won't this slow things down?
No, quite the contrary. We're investing, it's frankly going to be the largest investment Starbucks has ever made in hospitality and our partners. And so with that investment, you will see it show up in different ways across New York. You may see a digital host who's out front navigating that experience and able to connect at the same time. It could be an extra person at the drive-thru. The idea is just really making sure that we've got the right partners in the right place at the right time throughout the entire day.
Talk to us about the technology aspect of this, smart queue technology, using algorithms to kind of determine when and how stores need to be better staffed. What does that look like?
This is where we will be leaning into technology versus just simply saying, hey, we're going to put technology in the restaurants. It's very purposeful and it's meant to make it easy. If you go to a typical Starbucks today, you have this 3-hour peak demand that is just like sometimes over the top in some restaurants. And the idea behind the algorithm is it gets smarter, it paces in sequences. So if you go in and order the 1 cup of coffee at the front counter, the way it works today, it's first in, first out. So that cup of coffee is going to go in the queue behind every other customer that's ordered. We don't want that to happen. In the perfect world with the new algorithm, it will pace in sequence, it's smart, and it's intelligent. So the partner then has to just pull the ticket, craft on the cup, and be able to make the order without all thinking about where did that customer go. So it's making it easier and cleaner for the partner behind the bar, and ultimately, I think it'll show up, and we know it's showing up with customers to where it feels faster. It's not just time faster, it actually feels faster throughout the process.
How are baristas trained in this new program?
So we just started last week with our Green Apron moments across the country. And so over the next 3 weeks, we have 3-hour sessions in store. And it ranges from training on hospitality, which frankly our baristas are pretty good with the hospitality aspect. It's more of educating them how the new deployment, the play caller will work behind the bar. And ultimately what our intention is to put them in a position where they can be their best at crafting a great cup of coffee and connecting with every customer. And the optimism and excitement that we're getting from our in-store partners is just off the charts. It's been really exciting.
Are they feeling any relief with the technology changes? Is it making things easier for baristas in stores?
I think it's a combination of all of it. The technology certainly, because that evolves. That's going to, think of it as your Apple Watch updates. That'll continue to evolve. Immediately they can see a difference that the cafe customer isn't staring at them like, hey, where's my order? We can't have it sitting behind all the digital business. So there's a positive response to that. I was just talking to the manager here when we arrived today, and he said, how are you doing with Green Apron Service? He goes, well, I just had my rollout. I said, how are you training and bringing it to life? He goes, my partners love it because it's going to allow them to focus on the task at hand, eye contact with the customer, the greet and connect, which is what it's all about. And that's really what our partners have wanted throughout the whole process.
What is a Green Apron moment? In an ideal world, what do those interactions look like?
It's when you walk through that door, you're greeted with a smile. You're greeted again at the handoff with a perfect cup of coffee, whatever beverage you decide to order, and you're met with that connection. And the idea behind it is that it's the human element that we all crave. It doesn't have to be overbearing or over the top, but it's a simple hello, the thank you, make a moment right if it wasn't right. Very basic fundamental things that make you remember who we are. It's the cup writing. How are you today? Encouraging, and that's really what Starbucks has been known for and what we're bringing back as you bring through the whole Back to Starbucks journey.
Will any of the staffing changes and changes to the way labor is modeled in stores wind up impacting costs on the labor front, and will that trickle down to the consumer?
Look, there's trade-offs in everything we do. Right, you'll hear later in the earnings from Brian and Kathy exactly what that investment is. I did tell you it's the biggest investment in the history of Starbucks, which makes me excited. So it will show up in labor. We've done a really good job of mitigating cost when it comes to pricing this year, done a good job with tariffs, and we'll continue to look for those trade-offs in the business to make those investments.
Now, given all of the value offerings right now across the restaurant sector, quite frankly, within coffee, Luckin is now offering $2 iced coffees and lattes. Why is hospitality the answer to the challenges that Starbucks is facing right now?
Look, we have 7,700 drive-thrus in America. We've got a digital business which is 31%, which is doing really healthy. We have the third place. We're going to get ready to go into uplifts, which will start to remodel and bring the comfort back into the experience. That's Starbucks. All the competitors, we see them all, we watch them, we keep an eye on things, but it's really about our best self is Starbucks. When we're at our best, it's showing up in a way where we touch all 3 channels. And we have 20,000 units across North America, which gives us a terrific competitive advantage.
So millennials have long been Starbucks lovers. I know the brand is very focused on Gen Z now and the younger consumer, bringing them in from the start and hopefully keeping them along for the ride with the business. Will hospitality resonate with Gen Z? The social cues can be different. Do you think that they'll enjoy this type of an interaction?
If you listen to our partners, it does. When you talk to them and say, how are you interacting and what do customers want? You get all of it. And so I think it's the drink, it's the relationship from the frequent experience that you come in here. Connection is different things to different people. And I think for our baristas, they're in a great position to understand what each individual customer wants in that moment in time.
And what about for a customer, potentially a younger customer who is more digitally native and that is turning to your app and expects that great service there? How will this show up for a mobile or drive-through order?
Well, you'll see us relaunching our app early next year, which I think will be a big piece. It's already a really powerful presence for Starbucks, and the amount of 34 million users, active users. So people want it and they like it. We'll continue to evolve and go through. And I think hospitality, again, shows up in different ways. Hospitality is, ordering it through the app, the experience when you show up to pick up that order, and the eye contact and the energy that comes from the other side of that bar is really what we want to be all about.
When you stepped into this role, I know you've been with the company for several months now, evaluating the coffee houses, what did you feel was the biggest change that needed to be made?
I think it was quite clear to me that we were trying to do a lot of things in a very short amount of time, and we weren't always considering what we were asking partners to do. customer demand was there. It's still there today, which is terrific. But for us to be able to be the true Starbucks that we want it all to be, it's our baristas, our partners having what they need, finding the balance between cost and growth. And I'm excited. I walked in the door with a lot of optimism. It's completely turned to confidence with the Back to Starbucks plan. Green Apron Service, our new operating model, is the next generation of that. The Uplift program, as I mentioned earlier, just bringing seating back in that people want to sit down and enjoy. You go I spend a lot of time in coffee houses, and they're used in different ways. It could be the job interview that they're doing in the corner, the students after school, and we cannot forget that at Starbucks. That's a big part of who we are. It's been in our DNA forever, and now it's just about, I think we'll probably have about 1,000 done by the end of 26. So we'll be able to make meaningful impact, and we'll continue to evolve that.
And you spent decades at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
How does that experience inform what you're trying to do in this role at Starbucks?
We have a lot of experience. I mean, customers, you interact with customers on both sides of it. There are certainly common elements when you think of the basics of service that you want to be able to bring together. I think Taco Bell was more of a drive-through centric business. Starbucks, it's all three, so certainly a lot in the playbook that you can bring and apply. I think what's been most amazing to me is the talent at Starbucks, and the willingness, the love for the brand, and the commitment that people have to back to Starbucks. Our partners in the store, there's a term floating around, the green wave, because the buy-in, usually when you're in a turnaround, the front line is the hardest to get there. They're actually leading it for all of Starbucks, and I think that gives us a really big advantage to make things tick and go faster. I also believe that the fundamental plan of Back to Starbucks is it's going to happen. It's clear everything that's out there is fixable. It's about the right pacing sequence and the right balance to do it.
And you're teaming up with Brian Niccol again, of course, after working together at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Why do you feel you're the right team to turn the business around here?
I think, working with Brian from the past, I was certainly aware of his accomplishments. I think as I've re-entered working with him, it's been a few years since we worked together. His maturity as a leader, his understanding of operations and the power of the partner behind the bar and what that brings to the experience, that's been exciting. And I think just in general, I began my career behind a bar like that, and I understand it very well of what it takes to connect, to motivate, to keep things simple and focused so people can put their best expression forward every single time. It's been great. I'm excited, and I think for all of Starbucks, we're going to be in a much better place in the months to come.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing how it all turns out. Mike Grams, thank you so much.
Thanks.